Do you struggle with lighting your Gunpla? So do I, pretty much all of the time, so I thought I'd make a bit of a video to give you some simple tips to essentially get you going. Lighting has always been my biggest struggle and still is. From the cramped light box I did my first ever review with, that was the Master Grade Aegis, to something that has a lot more elements to it now. Something a little bit more relaxed, a little warmer, and a little bit more variable that can kind of pull off a whole bunch of different moods. Lighting really is the trickiest element of video making because if you want good quality, you just buy a good camera. If you want good sound, you just buy a good mic. But when it comes to light, there's so much more to it than something as simple as buying something. I mean, when I started out at first, I tried just buying a light box with lights, like a one-point solution, and it didn't really work out. It was a little sterile and a little bit, well, blown out and wonky looking. And that always was my biggest issue, the kind of blowout or too dark. From a big all lighted up table that blew everything out entirely, to when I pretty much relied on the sun for light after coming back to Ireland and I really didn't have any equipment anymore. As of right now, I've been experimenting a lot more with color temperature, lots of different colored LED lights, and all sorts of different things to kind of give a more, well, depth to the videos. Honestly though, I still struggle with light 100% of the time to try and get the Gunpla and model kits and figures and everything to look like they look in reality in a video. So if you've been struggling with getting the best out of your model kits, figures, etc. for photography or videos, I'm gonna give you a couple of tips and tricks you can try out in order to get the best out of it. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, but all my light in my videos comes mainly from the left-hand side, so I was shopping around for a lamp for using on the right-hand side when BenQ reached out to me. So I will mention I was not paid to do this video right here, they just sent me on the lamp, and there is some links in the description if you want to grab this lamp for yourself. I will mention though that you do not need this particular lamp for what I'm talking about in this video, you can use any lamp at all. But as for this one, this is what BenQ told me to tell ya. So according to BenQ, this is a good lamp for building your model kits with because it's got a very wide range of coverage and no harsh reflections. You will not get any eye fatigue with this lamp, and because you can change the color temperature, you'll be able to see the true colors and contrast on the surface of your work. We've also got a highly flexible swing arm and solid base. This thing is heavy, by the way. You can customize the color temperature and brightness with a knob, so if you're into the details, that's a temperature range between 2700 Kelvin to 5700 Kelvin, aka blue or orange. It's got a color rendering index above 95, which means it gives accurate color representation, a 150% wider lighting coverage, and zero flicker technology. I'll mention that zero flicker is great if you are taking videos because some lights kind of flicker, and depending on the shutter speed of your camera, you'll get some flicker or a thing called shutter roll, which is not nice to look at. Finally, this lamp will give you an evenly illuminated area at a 35-inch light range and maximum illuminance of 1800 lux, so you won't get unlit areas, hot spots, or hard shadows. Honestly though, seriously good lamp. Honestly, the minute I saw the base on this lamp, all I could think of is that is a perfect action base right there. So lo and behold, I threw the perfect grade Unleashed RX-78-2 on it, turned on the light, and this is cool. If I wasn't using this in my video and I didn't live in an absolute crap shack, I would put this in the hall looking like this. That would be one cool display. But anyway, that is enough about that. Let's get right on into some simple lighting techniques you can do with any lamp. So the first technique we're going to be looking at is just using a single point of light to light your Gunpla or figure. Basically, this is a very dramatic, harsh form of lighting, and you just take your light, point it from the direct side like this to cast light on whatever dramatic side you want, and harsh shadows on the other. What I'm using right here is the Metal Robot Spirits Barbatos Lupus Rex, and this looks so good for such a dramatic, over-the-top mobile suit. Once you get the angle just right like this, take a picture, and this is what I ended up with. So once again, very dramatic, really cool, and we've got some harsh lights, some dark shadows, and if you do feel like your light is blowing out your kit or model, then just throw something like a sheet of paper over it to diffuse the light and you're golden. By the way, if you want to know what this looks like under a different temperature of light, here it is under some orange light. On to the next one. So next up, we're going to be talking about using 2 points of light. So first off, you need your main light. This will be your key light. This is what you're going to illuminate the main part you want to illuminate, for example, the front of your Gundam. Next up, you'll need a less bright light for using as your fill light. You don't necessarily need a light to do this. Just grab some white paper, or in this case, I just grabbed the polystyrene out of the lamp box and used it as a reflector, which works perfectly. A lot of nice soft light everywhere, and there is the master grade age 1 normal looking fantastic, because it is fantastic. Honestly though, I'm going to be keeping this big old piece of polystyrene because this is a great reflector. Usually I use a ring light on the other side, but I find that can be quite harsh. I'm going to use it just so you can see what it is like with 2 actual lights, but I find the polystyrene box can be a little better if you want something a little bit, well, dark in the back, bright up front, and still somewhat dramatic. So once again, you might be wondering what this would look like if you're using more of a warm lamp, so I'm going to swap this here lamp over to warm, and this is what we get. So of course you're not going to get the accurate colors that we had before of the age 1 normal, but it does give you a different vibe. It's warmer, sunsetty, and pretty damn beautiful. So we're moving on to the next one, and as you'd expect after 1 point, 2 point, we're moving on to 3 point. So this is the most common form of lighting. You'd see this in interviews, portraiture, and even when Bandai themselves takes pictures of their Gunpla before release. So I'm going to introduce these kind of little orby light things I have right here into the back. If you're wondering what these are actually for sticking around a mirror, kind of like a makeup mirror. But these you can actually control the temperature of the light, just like with the BenQ lamp. So I find these give a really expressive and nice kind of lighting, definitely when used in the back, like we're about to see. So basically the backlight we have right here, this kind of gives a more three-dimensional look to a Gundam. This is something I've always lacked in a lot of my reviews. So you got a little bit of a halo around the backlit area of the Gundam, which makes it look a little bit more, well, three-dimensional and what it looks like in reality. Also, if you find your background is a little bit too lit up like what we're seeing here, I've got another low-tech solution for this, and that is just grab a Gundam box like this, put it in the way of the light source, just cutting it off behind the Gundam, and there you go. No more of that brightness behind it. You've got a more almost endless depth behind the Gundam that is not distracting. This is usually my setup when I'm doing reviews. So like with everything, you can use pretty much anything as a backlight as long as it's lighting from the back. Sometimes I also use this LED light strip, which you'll see in the back of most of my videos, and this is kind of fun because you can actually cast the color onto your Gunpla. For photography, this can add a cool extra element, and you can really play around with colors and mood and the vibe. So if you're looking to add a little bit of a unique dimension to your photography or your videos, this is definitely an easy way to do it. But yeah, on the whole, the 3-point technique definitely gives the best even lighting on, well, anything, and especially on your Gunpla. So the last technique we're going to be doing today is just, well, this kind of just happened as a part of me shite-hawking around a little bit. This is a very dramatic technique called rim lighting. I've wanted to try this out for a while, so I thought this was a good opportunity. So this is what we're going to end up with this right here. This is some seriously dark, dramatic lighting that kind of highlights your Gundam or person or whatever you're taking a picture of around the outer rim, hence rim lighting. In order to do this, you need a very large light source. So I used a ring light like this right here, but you can use anything. You can shine lights up onto your wall. You can get a big umbrella light or whatever these here light things are called. Any of that will do. When it's a Gunpla, you don't need the hugest light, but you still need one fairly large. Then I spray painted a Gundam box bottom black to be the background, because you need a background that's just slightly larger than the subject you're taking a photo of or video of. And once the box or little background that you have is placed in front of your light source, that is your background. The light will travel around it and highlight all around your Gundam. This is a pretty fun, cool, unique technique, and I recommend giving it a try. So you can also mix this with lighting from the front to get a dramatic backlight and a softer front light. And what I used to do this, once again, was just the polystyrene of the box. Depending on the angle and the closeness to the Gundam, you're able to control the soft light you're casting onto it so it doesn't outshine that nice rim backlighting, and this is cool. At this point, I don't know what I was thinking anymore. I saw a hole in the front of the box that was just about the size of the lens on the camera, so I was like, can I use this in some kind of interesting way? And in a way, this works kind of like a ring light. It's casting some really awesome yet soft dramatic lighting onto the Gundam while not obscuring the camera lens. Once again, I'm not sure why I did this, but it worked out great, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of it in future. And you know, I'll also mention at this point you can use a lamp to build your Gunpla too. BenQ did say that this is a good lamp for building Gunpla, and they're right. Mainly for the reason that it's curved in a nice way that you can place it almost in front of your face while building, control the light and temperature, and I have been using this since and in any video I've made since. I don't think I've uploaded any of them yet, but this is one hell of a lamp. So check it out if you want to. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more reviews and tutorials, and if you've any lighting tips, techniques, or secrets that you have, drop them down there in the comments and let me know about it. Also, if there's any tutorials about anything else that I do that you'd like to know about, drop it down there in the comments too, and I'll see if I can get around to it. Anyway, I'll see you next time. As always, cannot finish the video without thanking each and every one of you guys for watching, as well as those of you who support me on the channel memberships and over on Patreon, including Craig Jerry, Brian Perez, Caleb Engelhart, Sean T, and Tyler Sanders.